Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to jump into the world of Cardano's ADA, taking a look at what's been going on most recently and what we think is going to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button, I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all of the notifications, and in doing so you will never miss another video. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. If you're looking for a little bit more from the crypto space, check out the Patreon services. We do a lot more for Patreon members down in the Discord server. Everything from AMAs twice weekly through to project reviews, trading, what Chris and myself are buying, selling, and staking, and a whole host of additional benefits as well. So why not check those things out if they're of interest to you? Let's get started though. Let's go into this, right? So Cardano's ADA paired up with USDT on the hourly chart here, and Binance is the data source. We've got some interesting kind of data to kind of go through and kind of think about what's going on. For the most part, we've got this kind of good descent to the downside, heading towards the areas or accumulation kind of buy zone areas that we've been talking about for months. And yeah, the bottom clearly wasn't in for Cardano's ADA as we went down and set a new lower low. So question for you guys really is, do we think that many of the cryptocurrency assets like Cardano's ADA have still got to have their bear market lows, as it appears that Cardano is not done just yet? So let's go into this, right? So what we've got over here is 5 waves down, 3 waves up. So as always, when we talk about Elliott wave theory, 5 down, 3 up, 5 down, right? Pretty straightforward. The thing that we've got to ask ourselves is actually, is there something a little bit more going on here? And is this actually going to be 53535, right? And those are the things to kind of think about. So let's go ahead and just draw in what we've got so far and see where this one takes us, okay? So straight off the bat here, we can see we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down here, 3 up, 1, 2, 3, and 4 coming in here. Actually, 4 is not complete. So what we'll do is we'll just draw this in. So we're going to draw this here, and obviously we haven't finished that, and we're going to come down here. Okay, so basically we end up with this, and we've got all the subwave counts as well. And we could argue that actually, this wave 3 is going to be somewhere down here because it isn't complete yet. Wave 4 is going to be somewhere in the future, along with wave 5. Okay, and the reason for this is if we go ahead and draw this in, we can see here that we end up with this point right here. I think that's actually going to mark it there, and potentially coming down more here. Okay, so we're going to keep a close eye on that. Let's go ahead and do some fib measurements just to see, make sure that I'm definitely on the right track here. So this is all just eyeballing it, but we want to sense check what I've just done to make sure that everything here makes sense. So this has gone past 1.618, so we'd argue that that is wave 3 minimums met. But I would say that there's an internal count here that's also interesting. So we're just going to keep an eye on that one. And we're going to measure this just here. Just do these sense checks. These just help us to make sure that we're not just, drawing some random lines on a chart. We want to make sure that they make sense, right? And we have to do the sense checks. Even if we can eyeball it, we can see that we're not quite here yet. Okay, so this one's not quite on where it needs to. Okay, so that one's a little bit interesting. We'll park that one off there for a second. So see what's going on. I would say that makes the most amount of sense for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here, 3 to the upside. Moving down, so yeah, so that's interesting. It looks like we probably have to move up a bit before moving back down, and that could finish off our wave 3 by hitting this, and then having the bigger wave 4, and then a wave 5 down. Alternatively, we can just kind of move this here and assume this, but I just don't think that internal sub count is quite where it would need to be to do that kind of count. We'll leave it there for now though, and we'll remap if we need to. So running the fact that we haven't hit the 1.618 on the internal count here means that we probably haven't finished our wave 3, but I'll leave it like this because this is what's available to us at this point in time. Let's zoom in on this little wave, potential little tiny wave 4 here that hasn't completed. We will be looking for some kind of move to the upside, but I don't think necessarily we're finished with this area here yet. And it's really quite difficult with this move to the upside. It can be seen as the 3-wave structure that we've been talking about. As we come here, here, and here, we can be looking at that, and you can see it very much a lot clearer on the smaller time frame. But on the hourly, it's a little bit hard, but you can kind of see these wicks in here that are kind of leading us into that kind of thought pattern. If we come into the 15-minute, you can kind of see here If we take it from here, actually, it wouldn't be that side, it would be this side. So we'd have to go from the bottom, we go up here into 3 waves like so. But it's not looking like it's a 5-wave count or anything like that. So it looks like a 3 up here, and then we're going to be progressing to the downside. Now, here we'd be looking at, some kind of bigger ABC structure. So let's come back to our hourly chart. So what I'm expecting is something like this to bring us up into a nice kind of 4th wave point, but I don't think we're going to see anything like that just yet. I think we've got a little bit more volatility first of all. So what we can see inside this little area here is we're coiling up. I'm just going to draw some rough trend lines on. We're kind of coiling up into something here. Okay, so my expectations are that we are going to continue this over the weekend, and then next week we'll probably get this break upwards that will finish off our structure. That's kind of what I'm thinking is going to go on. That's all actually just a wave 4 though, so don't get too carried away with it, because we will break down into the area that we've been talking about for quite some time. This is the area between 28 cent and 34 cent, and if we do have this move up here, then we can make a couple of assumptions as to where we are likely to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw these on. Okay, let's go with measuring this high wave here. I'm just going to make me zoom in a bit more, see if we can get it. There we go. And then pull this down to this wick here. We moved it over to the recent low. Okay, no guarantee this is going to be the lowest point though. And this will show us about 40.2 cent. Okay, so I'm just going to put a dashed line just in here. If I can actually grab it, there we go. I'm going to put it right there, okay? So 40.2 cent. That's going to be our theoretical 4th wave high point. Okay, so we can go ahead and align these things right into there, right? So that's be where that would be kind of approximately ending. Now we'll move our fibs up to that line, and we'll see down here is going to be our approximate area on Cardano. I'm just going to draw a little rectangle in here, okay, for our 5th wave. Okay, so it would be somewhere in this little range between 31.98 and 33.75. Okay, so I'll go ahead and remove that off, and that gives us a little kind of zone just down here for this 5th wave. But as I said, I don't think we're quite where we want to be for our actual internal structure. This would just be a zigzag pattern if this one plays out and reverses from here. So instead, what I want to do is I want to take this low point just on here. I'm going to zoom back in to see if I can get that wick right on there. Okay, I'm just going to park that there for a second. And we're going to take this high point here. Okay, so that first measurement that I did, this is the one that's interesting to me, because I think if we come down, 30.26. So 30.26, and I'll put a little dashed line right on here. Okay, 30.26, and I'll remove the fib. That there is our actual 3rd wave trigger point. So I'm expecting potentially that 5th wave to come down lower, or we finish off this internal 3rd wave before actually going down into the 5th wave. So I'm thinking that there's actually room to the downside, and this is because essentially a lot more room to the downside, because essentially I think this is actually what is going to happen. We're going to come down lower than this level, then have a 4 and a 5 and come down even deeper. Okay, I'm looking at the 22.23 low point, which is a part of our macro. If I come to the daily, our macro structure to the downside, 22.23. Okay, that's something that we've been tracking since $3.10. And after that, we can talk about those fantastic moves to the upside, right? So when it comes to the bear market lows and we structure all this out and we start, scaling it out to the higher timeframes, things do look like they need to come down lower. And so I'm thinking, this is actually going to be basically a much bigger kind of zigzag play. And you can kind of see the 5 waves over here, right? The 3 waves going up, the 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, finishing off the bigger 5 wave structure. Of course, that could lead us into a much bigger problem later down the line. And I'll show you what the number is on that. So if I take this low point over this side and we take this high point on this dash line here, I'll have to eyeball it. There we go. And then we move that over to this one. Okay, our 1.618 is here at 24.91. If we hit this number, okay, this one just here, that is going to basically mean that we have to come down lower than 22.23 potentially. Okay, that would be a wave 3 on a bigger scale. But again, it's possible. So we want to be aware of these things, and we want to be aware that structures and market structure is absolutely vitally important in understanding where the prices are likely to go. Now, you can use many different techniques to get your structure of the charts. I'm using Elliott wave theory. It seems overly complicated to some, but to me it's really simplistic. And if you want to know more about Elliott Wave theory, join us down a Discord server where we have a 181-page document that explains Elliott Wave theory. It's actually quite easy to understand. It's just harder to implement correctly because there's so many different variables that you have to kind of consider. No one's ever going to get it 100% right, in my opinion. I'm wrong from time to time as well, and it's one of those. But essentially, from market structure, it's a really, really good way to kind of get things marked out on the chart and give you kind of ideas to where things are going. So here we can see that there's a lot of room to the downside, very minimal amounts of rooms to the upside, right? That comes later. But we are getting into the nitty gritty of things, right? As we have our lows are around this 22.23, or why kind of conservative, kind of wanting to kind of finish things off around the 28 to 34. I think this is going to change quite a bit as structure kind of continues to kind of map out. But 30.23 is the first trigger point of a bigger move. But for now, it actually looks like it's only going to be ending somewhere between 31.98 and 33.76, right inside this little sweet spot that we just marked up here. Okay, so that's going to be the immediate kind of future that I'm thinking about. But we'll keep a close eye on the structure of Cardano. And obviously, if you're a Patreon member, then you'll obviously get TA on request. And we do cover Cardano very, very frequently. On the YouTube channel, we're trying to get through these as quickly as we can and as frequently as we can. So usually Cardano is done every few days or so. But for now, guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you're looking for more on Bitcoin and Ethereum, join me on Twitch after this video goes out, where I'll be talking everything BTC and ETH. Guys, until the next one, have a fantastic day.